mask off. That's the best part. Yeah, so hey everybody, I'm Karla. I'm an alcoholic. Karla. And I'm not really very good at this, at this speaking to crowds, but I was asked to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I gave myself a couple little notes here on my big book to try to keep me on track because it just doesn't flow naturally from my mouth. But it's kind of funny to be a suspect. My sobriety date is June 10th, 2002. And I think back on those days when I was a suspect, and I think back on them very fondly. I don't know if I felt that way at the time, but when I look back on it now, those were good days, those early days. And I'm so glad that I got into Alcoholics Anonymous and I stayed. It's the best thing that ever happened to me and to my family. And just the other day, I have sober friends, girlfriends, and we text back and forth to each other and we send memes and stuff. And someone sent one, and I'm going to read it to you because it really stuck with me. It says, "How immensely important to us are those things in our life that are stable and unchanging. So much of our world is in motion. How welcome are the bits that stand still?" And that really caught me because I am now 19 years sober. I am that stability for my kids. They have a sober mom they can talk to. When I got here, there was not a lot of emotional stability, but today I am that person and that they can come to. They're all young adults now. And when I was a young adult, I really needed to know that there was a home base. I needed to know that there were people behind me so that I could go out in the world. And I'm proud that I'm able to be that for my kids, and I couldn't be that without Alcoholics Anonymous. And yeah, I'm not going to get into other people. I'm just going to talk about me. But when I was young, the thing I wanted the most when I was a little girl was to grow up and be a mom. I wanted to have kids. And when I got to that age to have kids, I was already an alcoholic. I was a young woman alcoholic, and I didn't know I was an alcoholic. I just knew that I liked to drink. I thought there was really something wrong with me. I thought I didn't understand. I didn't have any idea about the allergy of the body. I just thought, the whole thing about craving. When I think of craving, I think of craving, I gotta have this. But for me, what craving looked like was I wanted another drink. I just wanted another drink. That's all I knew is I decided before I drank, I'm just going to have one or two. But then once I started, I didn't care anymore and I just wanted another drink. And that felt like, you know, when I had these kids, it felt like, what's going on here? I care more about having another drink than I do about my kids. It just put a pleasant little blur between me and them. I wasn't really there, and for somebody who that was the thing they wanted most in the world, and when my first child was born, I felt like my whole world was complete, and it sobered me up for about 3 months, and then it just started all over again. And it was, I still didn't get that I was an alcoholic, though. I just thought I was a bad person, thought I was a bad mother. And it was, I just, if I would die for my children. If it was the zombie apocalypse, I would throw myself out there to save my kids, but I couldn't stop drinking. And it was just dreadful. It was shameful. But you know what fixed that? Another drink. Then I didn't care anymore. And I could be the fun mom sometimes, but I was the mom who had I don't know, we had sippy cups back then, with the sippy cup with the booze at the soccer games and stuff, stuff like that, because I could never be very far away from a drink. And that's not who I wanted to be in life. But I couldn't stop myself. So when I was 31, I had a boyfriend who told me that he thought I had a drinking problem. And so okay, maybe, so I decided he was like, he was a drug for me for a while there. I thought he was, I thought he was it. But then, and I didn't need to drink. I was so high off of him. But then that started to fade and I started to drink again. And when he said he thought I had a drinking problem, I said, okay, I'll go to treatment. So I did outpatient treatment and they sent me to AA. And I did not love AA. I did not think, I did not want to be there. I am a very shy person naturally. I've always have been. I'm a listener. I don't want to talk. I just want to sit back and listen. That's why I like this meeting so much, because it's a speakers meeting. But if you come to a speakers meeting often enough, I've learned in AA, you eventually get to be asked to speak. So it's okay. I'm getting it over with. So in AA, I didn't speak. I thought everyone who talked wanted to talk. I didn't do anything except go to one meeting a week. And, I didn't, I didn't I did get a sponsor and worked the steps. I didn't stay sober. I, um, I continued to do this sort of thing in Alcoholics Anonymous until I was 37. So at 31, I wasn't done. I did it for him. I wanted to want to be done, but I wasn't done. And when I was 37, I was tired. I was tired. I had a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I was just tired. And I felt I had been stopping and starting, and my drinking had changed so many times. I no longer was a daily drinker. I was a binge drinker and it was secretive. It was a big secret. It was always a secret. Almost right from the start, it was a secret for me. And I, I remember my last drink. I was sitting outside in the backyard, and I remember, because I'd been going to AA and I'd been going to step studies and stuff. And I remembered from Bill's story, it like popped into my head that, I was plunged into that endless procession of thoughts that had gone on before me. I mean, that visual for me was so, I really got it, like these thoughts all in a row, and they're all plunging off to death. And I was, you know, when I think of Bill Wilson, I think, he was a little further down that procession than I was, because I still had two cars in the garage, but I was in that procession. I finally saw it. I was going this way, and I was never going to come back this way, ever. I had tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. Always, this time it's going to be different. This time when I start drinking, it's going to be different. And I got it 37 years old. I got it. It wasn't different. It was never going to be different. And then, so I got that. I'm in that procession, and I got that I can't be like normal people. I was screwed because I needed to drink, but drinking was not going to get any better. In fact, I was going to lose my children. I was going to lose everything that I loved. And thank God for that. Thank God that I saw that with clarity. I really was in a position, I didn't know what to do. And I needed to ask for help. And the way, I'm an alcoholic. So the way I ask for help is I start cutting on my wrists so that someone will come and rescue me. And what happened was my daughter came in, and she was 12 at the time. And, I don't know what it's like to walk in on your mother doing that and having her say, go away. But what she did was she went to her room and she called her best friend and her best friend's mom. And In the meantime, my husband came in because I'd gotten married in this time and called 911. And so when the EMTs were arriving, so was my daughter's best friend and her mom. And I mean, this is anything but stable. This was a pretty chaotic life and a pretty small life. I mean, I had all these kids and we had a swimming pool, and I remember I would drink mostly when no one was there except for me and the babies, and I had a lock on the door to the pool that was high, and I just had to make sure the door was locked, and we were locked in the house so that the kids couldn't get to the pool and drown while I was passed out on the couch. I mean, and this was my life, and this was what I wanted more than anything, was to have these kids. So that's where I was, and so I had been in AA, and I realized what I had to do. I asked someone to sponsor who scared the shit out of me. I knew she would say to me, she would call me on my bullshit, which was really nice. I was a really nice, kind of like making excuses, or kind of, I was a subtle bullshitter, and she called me on it. And um, one time she said, I didn't call her every day. I missed a day. And she had it talking to me like, I don't know if you're going to stay sober because you're not calling me every day. And I was like, and I don't know why I gave this woman so much power in my life, but except that I was defeated. And so I called her every day, and then she talked to me and talked about a year from now, and I'm like, damn, she thinks I'm going to be sober in a year. And I don't know if she thought that, but it meant something to me. It gave me hope that if she thinks I can be sober, maybe I can be sober. And then, I did the steps. I went to childcare meetings and took my kids so that I could have a break from those kids for an hour and a half, and the ones that I wanted so badly. Um, and I saw other women raising kids in sobriety, and I saw how they could do it without alcohol. And that saved their lives, and it saved my life. And now they're my dearest friends, and our kids have grown up together. And when I had 2 years of sobriety, my sponsor said, well, you can be a GSR now, which, I had no idea what a GSR was, and it sounded really scary. Because when I got to AA, I felt like I was stupid and I didn't know what was going on because I didn't speak the language. I did not think, I was a loser and I wasn't very smart. And so I became a GSR, even though it scared me terribly. And it was there that I learned that I'm not stupid. And the longer I've been involved, and I've been involved ever since in general service, the longer I've been involved, the more I understand and the more I know what's going on. And it's interesting. It's to the point where I have a pretty good understanding of the service structure of Alcoholics Anonymous and how things work in our area. And I feel like I owe it to you guys and to Alcoholics Anonymous to continue on raising my hand and making myself available, because now I've got this training that not everybody has. And I've never really felt that way, like I had an obligation. So even though it's scary and it's hard, I continue to say, okay, sure, if you want me, I'm here. Um, and it's made me kind of a grown up. It's interesting. And those kids, they come home for the holidays and we go on family vacations together. And I have this family that I always wanted. I have these kids who seem to love me, and they come to me, with their problems. And it's all because of Alcoholics Anonymous. And okay, so I am still pretty suspect. I do think about drinking, especially on the holidays, because it'll make everything a little more sparkly, everything a little better. I don't know. I don't know why I think that, but because I'm an alcoholic. And but I would have to get out of my service position. I couldn't do it until I'm done with my service position. So I'd have to wait. And not only that, now I know I want to be that stability in their lives. What if I drank? What would they think of Alcoholics Anonymous? They would think it doesn't work. And some of my kids are pretty suspicious themselves, and I don't want to be the one who makes them lose faith in Alcoholics Anonymous. I want it to be there, and I want them to be willing to give it a try if they need to. So I'm going to stick around with you guys. That's
Cool.
it. Thank you.
Awesome.